Have you ever wondered how the rules of your favorite sports came into existence? Imagine a time when sports were not just about scoring and winning, but were a matter of life and death, honor and glory. We're taking you back to the early civilizations, where the genesis of sports rules took place. In the ancient civilizations of Greece and Rome, sports were not just leisure activities, but integral parts of society. The Greeks introduced us to the Olympic Games, where athletes competed in a variety of sports like wrestling, sprinting, and long jump. However, the rules that governed these sports were simple and often brutal. For example, in pankration, an ancient martial art, the only prohibitions were biting and gouging. Everything else was fair game. The Romans, on the other hand, were famous for their gladiatorial contests. These were not games in the modern sense, but rather deadly combat spectacles, where the rules were as simple as survive or perish. These early games were often governed by uncodified rules, which were subject to change based on the whims of those in power. If a ruler or a city-state decided that a particular rule was no longer suitable, they could simply change it. This lack of standardization often led to confusion and disputes, but it was also a reflection of the times. Sports in these early civilizations were not just about competition, but about showcasing strength, courage, and determination. They were a reflection of the societal values and norms of the time. However, as societies evolved, so did their games. Over time, the brutality of these early sports was replaced by strategy and skill, and the arbitrary rules gave way to structured ones. This evolution was not an overnight process, but a gradual one, shaped by centuries of cultural, social, and political changes. As civilizations evolved, so did the rules of their sports, paving the way for the structured games we know today. As we moved into the Middle Ages and Renaissance, sports became more organized, and the need for standardized rules became apparent. Let's take a journey back to the Middle Ages. Picture this: a verdant English meadow, where archers gathered to compete. But this wasn't just a casual pastime. Archery was more than a sport. It was a necessary survival skill, and important for military readiness. To ensure safety and fairness, rules were established. For instance, archers were required to stand a certain distance from the target, and scoring was based on where the arrow landed. Now, let's gallop into the exhilarating world of jousting. This was a sport of knights, a display of bravery and skill. But it wasn't all about charging at your opponent with a lance. There were precise rules governing the conduct of knights, the design of their equipment, and the scoring of a joust. These rules weren't just for fairness, they were for safety too, given the inherent dangers of the sport. As we transition into the Renaissance, a period known for its cultural and intellectual blossoming, we see the advent of more modern sports. Picture a tranquil Scottish landscape, the birthplace of golf. Early golfers played by rules that dictated the number of holes in a round, the manner of stroke play, and even the size of the ball. Then we have the elegant sport of tennis, which emerged in France during the Renaissance. From the start, tennis had rules about the size of the court, the number of players, and the method of scoring. These rules were crucial in transforming a simple game into a complex sport that required strategy and skill. The Renaissance was a time of innovation, not just in the arts and sciences, but also in sports. It was during this period that we began to see the structure and rules that would lay the groundwork for the sports we know and love today. It's a testament to how the human desire for fair competition and the love for games are as old as civilization itself. The Renaissance was a time of innovation, not just in the arts and sciences, but also in sports. The 19th century saw the birth of many modern sports, each with its own set of rules. This period was a veritable cradle of innovation, shaping the landscape of contemporary sports as we know it. Baseball, for instance, was formalized during this era. In the mid-19th century, the Knickerbocker Baseball Club of New York City introduced significant rules that later became foundational to the sport. Alexander Cartwright, considered by many as the father of baseball, was instrumental in this development. His introduction of a diamond-shaped infield and the three-strike rule, among other things, set the stage for the game's evolution. Simultaneously, across the Atlantic, football was undergoing a transformation. In the mid-19th century, different versions of the game were played in various English schools, each with its own set of rules. This changed in 1863 when the Football Association was formed in England. The FA, as it's commonly known, established a standardized set of rules for the sport, creating a clear distinction between association football and rugby football. The formation of the FA marked the beginning of modern football as we know it. Meanwhile, in the United States, the seeds for basketball were being sown. In 1891, Dr. James Naismith, a Canadian physical education instructor, invented the game while trying to create a new sport to keep his students active during the winter. Naismith drafted a simple set of 13 rules, establishing the groundwork for one of the most popular sports in the world today. The 19th century was a time of rapid change and development in the world of sports. The creation of official rules and organizations during this period transformed these games from casual pastimes into structured, competitive sports. It was a period of pioneers and visionaries who were not just players, but architects of the modern sports landscape. The 19th century was a pivotal time in sports history, laying the groundwork for the sports we know and love today. From the 20th century to the present day, sports rules have continually evolved in response to changing times. Indeed, the modifications to sports rules reflect the fascinating interplay of technological advancements, societal changes, and safety concerns. The 20th century was an era of technological innovation, and the world of sports was no exception. The advent of television, for instance, drastically changed the landscape of sports. With the capacity to broadcast games live, sports suddenly became a global spectacle, necessitating the standardization of rules to ensure a uniform experience for viewers worldwide. Additionally, societal changes have greatly influenced the evolution of sports rules. As societal attitudes towards equality and inclusivity evolved, so too did sports rules. An excellent example of this is the gradual acceptance and incorporation of women into previously male-dominated sports, leading to the development of new rules and regulations to accommodate this change. Safety has always been a paramount concern in sports, and rules have continually been modified to protect the well-being of athletes. The introduction of helmets in American football in the mid-20th century, the implementation of concussion protocols in various sports, and the ban on certain high-risk maneuvers in gymnastics are just a few examples of how safety concerns have shaped the evolution of sports rules. Over the years, numerous notable changes have been made to the rules of various sports. In basketball, for instance, the three-point line was introduced in the late 20th century, revolutionizing the game and adding a new layer of strategy. In tennis, the introduction of the tie-break rule in the 1970s has added more excitement and unpredictability to the game. The evolution of sports rules is not just about the rules themselves, but also about the wider societal context in which they exist. Each modification, each tweak, each new rule is a reflection of the times, a testament to the changes in our technology, our societal attitudes, and our understanding of safety. And so, the evolution of sports rules is a testament to our society's constant pursuit of fairness, safety, and excitement in sports. So, where do we go from here? What does the future hold for sports rules? As we stand on the precipice of an unknown future, one thing is certain: the evolution of sports rules will continue to march forward, adapting and growing in response to technology, societal changes, and the needs of the athletes themselves. Consider the role of technology. We already see it playing a part in transforming how games are refereed. Video assistant referees in soccer, Hawkeye technology in tennis, and instant replay in American football are changing the way decisions are made on the playing field. It's not too far-fetched to imagine a future where AI referees make split-second decisions with unerring accuracy, taking human error out of the equation. But it's not just technology that will shape the future of sports rules. Changing societal values, too, will play a crucial role in this evolution. As we grow more aware and understanding of issues like mental health, gender equality, and racial justice, our sports rules must adapt to reflect these values. We may see rules that prioritize player welfare over competitiveness, or that ensure equal opportunities for all athletes, regardless of gender or race. And let's not forget, the athletes themselves will continue to push the boundaries of what's possible, forcing our rules to evolve in response. As athletes become faster, stronger, and more skilled, the rules will need to keep pace to ensure fair play and safety. But no matter how much our sports rules change, their core purpose will remain the same: to ensure a level playing field, to protect the integrity of the sport, and to safeguard the welfare of the athletes. As we look to the future, one thing is clear: the evolution of sports rules is far from over. And that's part of what makes sports so exciting and enduring. The rules of the game aren't just a set of instructions, they're a living, breathing entity that grows and evolves with the times. And that's something worth cheering for.